She is at times witty, at times angry, melancholic, furious, funny.
It's political, it's radical, it's very intelligent.
It represents some of the most cutting-edge feminist art made in London in the 70s.
Artists do have a role to talk about things that other people don't talk about and to break down taboos.
The transformation of women's lives that was caused by feminism has made us forget what a kind of battle it was to stand up as a feminist and say, we don't like this order, we're going to change it.
Alexis first made a name for herself as a young artist who challenged traditional assumptions about what women should paint. This was at the end of the 60s, when she was a student at the Elam School of Fine Arts in Auckland.
After seeing 600 years of paintings of women by men, I decided to do a little bit of reversal.
It's very important to grasp what the 70s were like. When I left university in 1970, I couldn't hire a television or buy a television. I couldn't hire a car, buy a car without a man's signature.
There's only one image of this, so it's not as though she's thought, oh yeah, that's a great shot, and I'm going to take loads and loads of shots. That is literally the only shot that's really like it. And all the other prints on that series, they're just one-offs. If you look at the content, that is the shot, and there's only one of it. It's not as though she's just thought, oh yeah, that's great, and I'm going to, like a fashion shoot, where if that was a fashion shoot, you know, the whole role would be of that shot. It's just literally, you know, a one-off, which is quite remarkable in some ways.
She completely flipped the coin and she suddenly changed the attitude, and suddenly the man felt uncomfortable.
A woman complained that they were sexist, and I thought, well, how can you have sexist images of men? And I don't really think you can, in the sense that if people have power, then you can't really take it away.
In the 1970s, there was no art market. There was no art market for the female artists. So they made their work, they worked really hard, they produced a lot of art pieces, but they couldn't sell the work, they couldn't live from their art.
Even though I'm working in the commercial sphere, like showing in commercial galleries, I quite often do work that frightens them, or they find it's a bit disgusting.
most important works that I think you've made, Alexis, is called Dialogue with a Rapist, which is a 10-part photographic and text work. And it's been a great honour for me to be able to exhibit that work in the gallery. I'm only sorry that I failed to ever sample for you, but it's the kind of complexity of it's the difficulty of the subject matter, and that in itself is quite interesting, because what it teaches me is that some of the most hardest and challenging of work is often, frankly, impossible to sell.
There was a great hostility not towards her, towards the feminist movement. And she felt the criticism was too harsh.
Oh, they would never criticise the work. They'd criticise me at being a feminist. And that's all the views I got. So it was anti-feminist.
The anger turned to humour, which is just the central feature of Alexis' work. Because she did The Marxist Wife, which again was about the way in which, whatever a woman's politics, when she was in a relationship with a man, you're immediately put into that domestic category. You had this sort of sense with Alexis of the tongue in the cheek. I remember that early series of Yes, No, Maybe, when she was photographing the guys on the streets. She was taking the power that men have and accept that you can wolf whistle at girls walking down the street. And I thought that work was just like her wolf whistling at boys down the street.
Alexis Hunter really was so acute in those early years in troubling us. She was, in a sense, shouting visually rather than just simply collecting or exploring. She was really making people think.
One of the images that I used consecutively quite a long time was hands, because in advertising, hands are quite often touching the object to give it a tactile reality.
Sexuality is probably the most bizarre dimension of human beings, and she dared to sort of explore that.
I think people who see being an artist in London as very glamorous, I think that they ought to know that it's actually very hard work, and you do have to keep up working. You can't have a successful show and then go to sleep for the next 30 years.
With Alexis and the other feminist artists, it took time, and now people appreciate more and more and more and more.
then and now is intense commodification of sexuality and sexualization of women. It's infinitely worse.
And I think sometimes she taps at the limits of the fear. She pushes us to question ourselves and to question the society. She's an important artist. She has an incredible body work, and then suddenly people got interested because people rediscovered her.
As I walk towards you, it's really flat.